Welcome to another episode of the Starter Girls Podcast with your host, Jennifer Loading.
And Brianna Drelis, and we are the Starter Girls.
Where extraordinary decisions produce extraordinary results. These are our friends, these are your friends, and they are living the extraordinary. This episode is brought to you by Walt Mills, photographer of Glad Models Agency. If you are here in the Dallas or surrounding area, check out Walt Mills. You can learn more about him and his work at photosbywalt.com. And our new sponsor, Studio Dallas. The Studio Dallas is the best kept secret in the Dallas podcasting world. If you're looking for a studio with top-notch technology, video, and audio recording capabilities, along with a production team to help make things go smooth, then Studio Dallas is the place to be. If you guys are looking for more information on that, please reach out to us at startergirls@gmail.com.
That's right. And head over to startergirls.com and get your free download. We want to help you up-level your decision-making skills, and we have some really cool stuff there for you. So head over to startergirls.com and pick that up so we can keep in touch.
Absolutely. I think we're ready to get this thing started.
Girl.
All right. Today's a great day to be brave. You might as well start now. You have the power to change your circumstances any day you decide. Let today be that day. Rise up. Be amazing. Be you. Do you. All right, my friends, we are super excited to welcome our guest on here today. And I know this is a good friend of Brianna, so I'm super excited to get to meet her today. So Bree Noble quit her corporate job as a director of finance to pursue music, which I think is so awesome. After a successful run as a touring singer-songwriter, she founded Women of Substance Radio to promote quality female artists in all genres. She hosts the Profitable Musician Show podcast, where she teaches musicians how to tap into multiple streams of income, drawing on her extensive experience as a musician, online marketer, and business owner. Bree has created several educational programs for musicians, including the Female Musician Academy and Rock Your Next Release. So welcome to the Starter Girls Podcast, Bree. We are super excited to have you here.
Yes,
Thank
welcome.
you. I'm so excited to be here.
This is so good. And I know we're going to have like so many questions because I know Brianna knows you well, at least more than I do. So she's going to have questions, and I'm probably going to have a lot of questions. So do you want to kick this off, or do you want me to kind of start this?
You
want
can
me to go
take
for
it away.
Okay.
Yeah, let's dive in.
All right, Bree.
We're excited to have you, though.
Absolutely. So, Bree, what I want to know, I want you to kind of just tell me a little bit and our audience a little bit about what this is that you do, because you've got this whole Women of Substance Radio. So we want to know about this. What is this? And obviously you're serving women here. So tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah. So this all started because I was a female musician, and I met a lot of amazing female musicians as well. And I felt like they weren't being represented. You know, you would listen to the radio, you would listen to Sirius XM, and there just weren't a lot of female artists on there. It'd be like, maybe 15% if we're lucky. And so I just really wanted to create a platform to raise up women. And that's pretty much where this all started. It grew into so much more, though, which is crazy. So being that I was a musician as well, and, someone who absolutely loved music, getting out of school, just wanted to do it all and tour and, be a rock star and all that stuff. But I had no clue how to do it. And so, once I was really digging in and getting frustrated and not knowing how to grow as an artist, I finally kind of locked into what I needed to do it. And once that I saw that there were so many other artists that were, needing help in this area. And so that's where I kind of connected with all these women that I was working with on Women of Substance, promoting their music and saying, hey, I was going through this too. And I want to help you guys really learn how to market yourselves and build a fan base as a musician and be able to make some money with this thing that we love. So that's kind of how it all got started. And it moved from promoting musicians into helping them build their platforms with things like the Female Musician Academy and the Rock Your Next Release program.
It's really incredible. And Jennifer, I have to tell you that Bree has so much respect in the music industry and also specifically in the DIY space, because ultimately, when record labels kind of died, even before that, Bree was saying, no, you don't have to be a starving artist. You can have a sustainable career in music. You can make money. And I'm going to show you how. And that's one of the things she talks about. She talks about, getting, those 1,000 fans and, really creating sustainability in your music career and generating income. That's one of Bree's like top things that she preaches, which Bree, thank you, because you help so many artists. You help so many independent musicians, and it's really empowering for so many women as well. And I know that you serve men too if they come into your circle, but women, your heart is for female musicians, and I just wanted to commend you for that.
I think the thing that I'm so intrigued by is the switch between the finance to the creative music space. That to me is just really kind of neat in a sense. But, we talk about this so often because so many people that come on this show have these backgrounds in, finance and accounting, me included. They have these backgrounds in this, and then they go into this creative space. And I think that is so interesting to be able to take that, because it almost puts you two at an advantage because you understand that other side, that logical side of having to work on, budgets or numberings and those kinds of things, right? And then being able to take that into a creative world, I think that kind of makes you a little bit unique. So I kind of like that. I think that's awesome.
Thanks. I mean, I think that it's interesting that you said that several people have said that they do that or came from that background, because when I first started doing this, I felt like I was the only one that was like marrying that left brain and right brain. And that's where I could really help musicians, because they didn't think that they had it in them to do that left brain stuff. And it was scary and uncomfortable and all that. But I did have a double degree in music and business. I was always going to be a music major, but I found that I really loved business after kind of taking an accounting class. And it's kind of crazy now, to see what all the other people that I went to college with are doing. And I feel like I'm one of the only ones that's actually doing something in both of my majors, which is, I guess, not by accident, because I did design what I do now, to fit what I thought my strengths were and how I could help people. But, my goal is to make sure that artists understand, number one, that they're a business, and to not be afraid of that idea. To be like, I can understand business, and I don't have to go to business school or go to marketing school or anything to feel confident enough to act like a business in just the simplest ways of like learning how to bring in, people that love their music and how to turn that into an income.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. Well, and I feel like that's kind of what you do too, because I think a lot of times when people get into that left or right brain, like they think they're either over here on this left side and they can't have any right brain, right? Or they're on the right and they can't have any left. And I think if you have the ability to bring both of those, to the forefront, that's when you can be unstoppable, right? You bring that logic
Absolutely.
and that creativity and you pair those together. So yes, it's all about finding your strengths. And then how do you capitalize on those strengths, right? Like how do you bridge all that together? So I think that's great. And even to be able to show your people, hey, right, like you said, it's a business. You've got to make money at what you're doing, or you want to at least make money, right? You want this to be something profitable. So I think that's awesome.
And Bree, I think you're right. As far as you feeling like you were kind of a lone wolf out there blending, that marriage between the left and the right brain. I know that when I first started, what I do, which was, I guess, only 3.5, 4 years ago, I was feeling the same way. It's like, I have all of these crazy between being a restaurant owner and a singer and, all my various background and expertise. It's like, I've done so many things. I used to be an event coordinator. I used to, all these things. And then somehow I found a way to bring it all together and make up what I do now as a reality TV music coach and strategy consultant, because strategy is like my key thing. So for me, that is the weirdest thing. Is it took me a long time to realize, oh no, I can combine all of those strengths and serve people at the highest level because I'm in my genius zone, right? And that's exactly what you've done and what you have been doing for a while now. And you can see like the people who love Bree, like, and I'm one of them, they've been following Bree for a long time because what you teach and how you empower them is really effective and it works.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's so nice to hear. Yeah, I did feel like I was kind of one of the only ones at first that was talking about that, especially specifically to women. And so I just really wanted to empower women to just stand in their power as a musician and know that they're a business owner and they can do this.
Yes. Yes.
Boom. Mic drop.
Yeah, I have a question for you that I think would be really good, especially because we do have a lot of women that are listening to this, obviously. We're starter girls. We bring men on here too, but we got a lot of women that listen to this podcast. So I'm thinking, having come from, again, go back to what you did before, this director of finance, and then moving into kind of this entrepreneurial creative space, what did you feel like was maybe the trickiest piece moving from that into this other space for you?
Well, I mean, really, the trickiest thing was realizing that they go together. For me, I literally did just take off that business hat when I went into the music stuff, because I thought, oh, this is a separate thing and this is where I'm being creative, and it's a totally different realm. And so I always say to people, like, I don't blame you if you are not realizing these don't go together, because here I am, someone that had a degree in both of these things and just didn't realize it. Like, I just naturally was like, oh, now I'm doing music, I'm not doing business, I'm going to put that hat over there. So I think that's why I was stuck for so long, because like what Brianna said at the beginning about, that old school model of, oh, I need to have a label, I need to have a booking agent, I need to, someone else is going to control my career for me. They know better than I do. And so that's why I thought, oh, I'm not a business, because I'm just going to be like a cog in someone else's wheel or something. I also went through that period where I thought I needed to be in someone else's band because I didn't know how to do this on my own. And I didn't have the confidence to be like, oh, I know how to market this, or I know how to find the gigs or anything. I thought, oh, well, these bands are already established, they must know better than I do. Well, they didn't. None of them did. And they were all kind of disastrous experiences in being in bands. And so, I think really the answer to your question was like, actually marrying the two was the hardest part, and realizing that needed to happen. And once I did, that was like that one little key that needed to be unlocked before I could really figure it all out.
That was good.
Killer. Yes.
I like the marrying piece.
Yeah. It's because, again, you bring in all your collective experience, your collective strengths, what you bring to the table, and that is your like sweet spot. That is, where you can serve at your highest levels. When you, like, I feel like we're designed with our strengths and our gifts, all of those things. If we're supposed to exercise all of them, they all make up who we are. And so when we're, like you said, I love how you said it. When I'd go to create, I would take off my business hat and I would just go put my creative hat on. And man, I can't tell you how many times I thought that way. And sometimes I still do. Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting too, because I think even now, all of us probably can say that we wear both hats really in business at all the time. There are times when we're being creative and there are times where we're in our business, and it's hard to do them at the same time. Like, for me, when I'm being very task oriented and focused on business side, I'm not necessarily doing the creative. And when I'm doing the creative, I'm not doing the other. So we really do them all the time. We have to sustain a business, right? But then the good thing is we can find other people in our lives to help us with some of those other tasks, right?
Yes.
So that's when you get the win, when you can start finding people to help you with some of that. But this is good. I like the whole marrying thing. I think that's so awesome. I've never heard anybody quite put it that way. So I think that's another unique thing, Bree. I like
That's
it.
great.
Yes. So, I want to ask you, because you've done so many incredible things. I mean, you've got this podcast, this whole thing you've created, this musician show thing, and then you've got these academies. What I'd like to know is, when you're going after things, I'm sure Brianna probably wants to know this too, when you are going after things, what does this headspace look like for you? Like, what is this process for you?
Um, well, I think it's really different now than it was earlier on because now I have a team. And so now I'm trying to train myself in like I don't have to take all this on myself. I
Yes.
don't have with all the strategy. I don't have to come up with, who's going to do what. I don't have to, disseminate all the information. And like my biggest thing lately is like making myself not the bottleneck of my own business because I used to be just like the hub, right? And I would just like send this over here and send this over here and you do that and it just is exhausting. And then I can't really have the energy to give to my students to, think like you said, be creative in your own business, think up different ways of doing things, make more, connections as far as like networking and stuff like that. And so mine right now is just my process is really learning to let go, learning to delegate. And I know that when I was like earlier on in my business and I heard other people talking about that, I'm like, boy, that's a nice problem to have. But now that I'm there, I'm like, yeah, it is that way, but it's also like getting through some of your own stuff of needing to feel like you're always in control or that you're the only one that knows all the real answers. So I'm really in a period right now of like letting go. Like I have completely taken myself out of the Women of Substance podcast over the last year. I have done over 1,000 episodes myself where I edited it. Was the host. I did all the voiceovers. I chose all the music, all of that. And now I have a person on my team that was with me for 3 years before I said, hey, what would you think about taking this over? And, I slowly let her take it over. And now she does the entire thing. The only thing I'm involved in is choosing the music because it's still important to me to make sure that I'm involved in curating. It is like this thing happens and it's under my umbrella, but it doesn't have to involve me on a day to day basis, which is really an awesome feeling, but it takes a bit to get there.
That's so killer.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I know, like early on, in the career that I was in before, that was one of the things they always talked about was delegating. And you're right. And I think there are a lot of us that we feel like a lot of times nobody can do what we do, right? Like we're the only ones that can do it that way. But the thing with that is that when you recognize that everybody that you bring into your circle to work with you, they all bring different qualities to the table. And there are things that other people are really, really good at. And when you can learn to embrace that, it's like everything is so much better. You can get so much more done, be so much more effective, and really shine in the areas where you need to shine. So I say to you, congratulations for being in that space and being able to do that. Because it's giving me chills. Is that not a killer feeling?
Isn't that amazing? Look at that. Like, kudos, congratulations. Let's celebrate you. Like, for you to go from, oh, I want to sing and be on tour and I want to do this, and then full on evolution, business, you're supporting others as they're doing that. You still get to do music when you want to do music. Like, it's like the perfect, in my opinion, the perfect like situation.
Yeah.
Because you're doing all the things you set out to do.
Mm-hmm. And you're helping other people shine.
And she's a mom, so it's like you're doing all this while being a mom of, how old is your son, right?
No, I have two daughters.
Oh, two daughters.
17 and 12. So I was just thinking today, like all the things that I did, today, just in itself of like, as a business owner and, doing this over here, this over here. Oh, and in the between, I was like checking on my daughter's scholarships for college and making sure she was ready for her trip to visit the school tomorrow. And, it's especially during this time and this craziness of the pandemic, it's life and business really blend. It's not like, oh, I go to work and then I come home and I do these things. And it never was like that for me because I work from home, but it's even less like that now because kids are at home doing homeschooling and all that stuff. So it's been even more interesting.
Yeah. Wow. I think we can agree with that too, because we're moms too. And I have 2 kids that we've done the college thing, so I get where you're at in that whole little process. And it is very different now with the whole COVID thing. But you know what would be a really good thing? Asking, being in the position that you're in and having done all these incredible things with these kids, any like little quick success tips that you want to get for maybe like these women that are kind of aspiring to want to be entrepreneurs that are moms like us? Anything that you want to maybe offer them is like just something that's worked really well for you?
I mean, I will say this as somebody that is an early riser, has always been an early riser. So I want you to know that this is not, you don't have to get up early to make this happen. You could do it at a different time of day. But I have always gotten up early because I needed to get up before my kids in order to make sure that I was like grounded in myself and I wasn't like reactive to everything at first in the morning. Maybe I have like a couple things on my list that I need to do that day that are like the most important, and I get those done first. So if you're not an early riser and you can't do that in the morning, then I would just set that aside time aside at night or during nap time, because you do need that time where it's just you, and not even when they're like this old. I still love getting up before them because I want to be able to like set the intention for what I'm doing. And so, maybe you have to do that at night, but like you can set the intention for your time as an entrepreneur during that time period when you're not having to also react to stuff that people are doing that, you have to get involved in.
Yeah.
That's so important.
We can get a lot done in the morning.
I know. Before people, Mom, can I have this for breakfast? Mom, do we have any oranges left? Mom, do we have any? Oh my God.
You are speaking our language.
No, I have to go to the grocery store.
That's right.
Quiet.
Hey, well, when they get bigger, like mine are old enough now, like if they gripe there's no food, I'm like, you got a car and you got the credit card. Go get your groceries. Figure it out. But that's bad too, Bree, because then they come back with lots of groceries we don't need, and they're not necessarily cheap groceries,
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's kind of like one of those things where, do you do it or do you not do it, But
hey, Bree, I want to ask you, tell us about the latest course or academy that you've just launched, because I want to say that it has something to do with your release, right? Your release strategies for music.
Yeah. So February 2020, I launched my Rock Your Next Release program, it's basically a course with some support, and it is to help you successfully release your album or EP, like the whole process from beginning to end and after you release it. But it's really to make sure that you don't miss any of those important steps, because what I heard from people is that they would put all this money and time into making this amazing album, and then like they didn't really know how to lead up to that, and they would just release it and then it would just kind of fall flat. They'd post about it a few times and people would be like, cool, and then that was it. And so you don't want to spend that kind of money and that kind of time and not have a plan. So, and it ended up being so perfect, because during COVID, like as we couldn't perform a lot, the number of people releasing music has been insane. Like everyone's
Right.
releasing music. So I felt like it was a really good time for that to come out. And it's, we've done really well with it over the past year, and people are loving it because it gives them very step-by-step in all the, like what I call the 8 different areas of releasing your album. Everything from, the big marketing piece and, the actually creating of the product, and the booking some kind of tours or support performances around it, and release parties and all that stuff. They're all things that you have to do simultaneously. You can't be like, okay, first I'm going to record this thing and get it done. Now I'm going to market it. Now I'm going to, because if you don't do them at the same time, the timing just doesn't work out, and you can't take advantage of that like momentum of your release. So I give them like checklists, and like I'm 5 months out. What do I do? And you pull out this checklist and you do it, because that's how I work. And I was like, I want to build programs the way that I would want to have it if I were to buy it.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Congratulations. That sounds awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks.
We want to ask you one more fun question before well, I say fun, they're all fun. We have one more serious question before we ask you a couple fun ones here. Okay.
Okay.
So in Bree's term or words, however you want to put this, how would you define success? What does that look like to you?
I think for me, success is a combination of flexibility and, doing what you love. So for me, flexibility is like, I could actually choose, to only work 3 hours today because I wasn't feeling well. Or, I can easily take the weekend off and go to, visit my daughter's potential college. Or, like I have control over my schedule. But in the times that I am working, I'm doing something that I love. So to me, like, with money, like if you have a lot of money, one thing that can buy you, not that it buys you happiness, but it buys you flexibility, it buys you choice. So you can either get that by, getting more money or doing a job that you love that doesn't feel as much like work. And so, you're more excited about working and it doesn't feel like, oh, my schedule is so packed and, I'm not, and, this is work and this is play. Like, I love the idea of just being able to be flexible to like go for a walk in the middle of the day and then go back and do some more work and then make some dinner. And then maybe I'll do some more work after that. So I guess the ultimate answer is flexibility and being able to control what I'm doing when and make my own decisions. And I guess it's a little bit of not a hindrance, but like my kids, they see that I have this kind of job and my husband's a professor. So he has a little bit of that too, as far as like getting the summers off and, teaching, not having to teach all day long and everything. And so I'm afraid they're going to be a little spoiled, when they go out into the workforce, unless they decide to become entrepreneurs, because they're like, wait, what do you mean? I have to come to work at this time and I have to stay until this time and I only get 2 weeks of vacation a year.
That's right. They're going to have to be entrepreneurs, Bree.
That's right.
I know.
That's so great.
I love that.
Yes, that was good. And I agree
Great
with you on that.
perspective.
I agree with her 100% on that. I was laughing when she was saying about, it buys you money, buys you choices. When you don't have it, it ranks with not breathing. So you want to have money so you have flexibility and choices, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, all right, let's do a couple fun questions. You want to do a couple fun ones real quick before we wrap this up? You want to start or you want me to start these?
Okay.
I'm sure you got some here.
Well, okay. I'm just going to start. This is going to be an obvious music question. I would love to know what your first concert was.
Good.
Oh, okay. This is a little embarrassing. My first concert, this is going to date me big time. Wham.
Yes! That's amazing!
I don't want your freedom. Hey, I have a Wham album at home right now. True story. I have a Wham album.
That is
I have all of them.
I don't have all of them. I didn't like them that much.
Love it.
That's so good, Bree. I love it. She likes speaking the language here.
Know. Yeah. I'm like dancing in my chair.
Listen, she's asked this, and we've been. If I feel like maybe not the last one, but we've had like 3 episodes where we've been singing on the podcast because something about music has come up, and like we know the song. What was our New Kids on the Block? She brought up. She says NKOTB, and we're like the people that know NKTOB. Like I was a little older, but the people that knew them, we know their music. So that was so good, so good. Okay, Bree, favorite food.
I think I have to go with flan.
Oh, well.
I tried every restaurant that has it. I have to try it.
Okay, so you're in Cali. Do you have a go-to restaurant that has like the best flan?
I don't. I went to Cabo a couple of years ago and I tried flan at every place we went to, and there was one that was just so amazing. Of course, I can't remember the name of it, but I could probably find it.
She'll find it if she goes back.
Oh yeah.
I'll put it on Facebook because whenever I find like the perfect version. The other one I try at every restaurant is rice pudding, but most people don't offer it. And so I always take a picture when I find a really good one. So
That's
good.
funny. So you have a sweet tooth.
Like me.
Kind of.
Hello.
I,
All right. Last fun question I want to ask. If you could be any character or superhero for one day, what would you pick, Bree?
oh, I think I'd have to pick Belle
Ah.
because, like, she's like a cool nerd.
She is cool.
Cool nerd.
She
I
loves
love
to-
it.
You know, and even though everybody's like, she's a little bit odd, but she's beautiful. You know, that's what I want, like the cool, like good-looking nerd.
So awesome.
Oh, I love it. And she's also so kind and sweet to her dad
Yes.
and others.
And she can sing.
Yeah. She's awesome. Good answer.
Well, this was-
I'm a Belle fan. I'm a Beauty and the Beast fan.
Yeah. This was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. We're so happy you could be here today, Bree.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So, Bree, if our listeners wanted to learn a little bit more about you, where do we send them?
Oh, yes. Okay. So if you are a female artist, you definitely want to go join my free group on Facebook. It's the Female Indie Musician Community. You can go there directly at woscommunity.com. And that way we can interact more and you can find other amazing female artists in there. You can go check out my podcast, The Female Entrepreneur Musician, femusician.com or profitablemusician.com. I have two different podcasts. So one is a little more about making money and one is a little more about being a female in the music industry.
Very good. We'll make sure, too, when we get this out, that we get all your links on there and everything so it gets back
Awesome.
to you where it needs to go and people can find you. So thank you for being an incredible guest. This has been fun. And I'm so glad I got to meet you, even if it's on the screen.
Yeah, thank you. I watched a few of your episodes and I'm like, man, they got a lot of energy. I better crank it up.
Well, we're so happy you're here today, Bree, and thank you again. It's been a real pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. And we do want to say to our listeners, of course, if you enjoy our podcast, please be sure you give us a rating both on iTunes and Facebook because we can't do this without you. And check us out on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button.
Absolutely. And don't forget to head over to startergirls.com to grab your freebie. We want to help you make better decisions for your life and business. And we have a cool download there for you as well. And if you head over to found.ee/M2E, you are going to get directed to our brand new virtual workshop that Jennifer and I, the Starter Girls, are hosting together. And it's going to be all about mindset to execution. So we're helping creative entrepreneurs take those ideas and create a plan so they can get to their goals a little faster for life and biz. So again, mindset to execution, found.ee/M2E.
Yes, yes. And we're excited.
Yeah.
All right, and we're going to leave you guys with a couple final thoughts to wrap this up. When you give joy to other people, you get more joy in return. You should give a good thought to happiness that you can give out. And that is by Eleanor Roosevelt. And with that, we do want to say, in order to have success, you must start, and every start begins with a decision. All right, you guys take care, be safe, and be kind to one another. We'll see you next time.